This is a continuation of my crutch story, as such. These are some of the art that I have made throughout my years. And I think this Da Vinci Code story is coming together. Who's going to win the major conflict that's going to happen in World War III? Hex number 9. I was hoping that the whole thing would be world peace and we could get together as a world body, communists, capitalists, all religions, etc., to defeat the cancer of hate. But I see that's not going to happen with the money rulers of this country, authoritarians who rules everything in this country, and the money control, and only very few media people, media companies, etc. They don't let anything on the air. This story is where maybe how this story completes. Now, this continues with the story, and where I'm going with this, you will see to be continued. Part of God's 10 hexes I just randomly wrote that is going to happen. And the story and other things I wrote about. The virus, for one thing, I had put in ever since that Trump was removed from office by the Senate in February 2020. The hex of the virus really spread, but somebody said it's too divisive for everybody else. So I said, okay, I'll take it off. That's part of the virus part. Another thing, when I was talking about the money rulers of this country, they own everything. They do not let any word on the airwaves. And that I could get into some other videos. Why? Because the hosts and the owners of the media have aborted the child in their souls. And so as a child, you're always open ideas, you're learning, and, we'll let others talk, you listen, and, that kind of stuff. But since they've aborted the child in their souls, they're too serious on the airways. They cannot let go. They don't want to learn, so that's why they don't let anything on the airwaves. Back in February, I had advocated check people in international hotels before they get to the international airport before flying in the United States. This was before the virus had gotten in this country. No way you can get on any of the airwaves, conservative radio, whatnot. Forget it. That's part of the problem. If the media owners were not controlled by fear of losing wealth, this virus wouldn't have killed so many people in this country and elsewhere in the world. But as I get into World War III and the U.S. will lose, that is a main question that gets into God's 10 commandments. If we would follow them, we can prevent it. But I don't think it's going to happen because money rules, and that's it. My other writings concluded that God's intention that makes you richer than anything else are the little things in life. And I could get into some stories about that. But since the money is the ruler, see, I figure if you look at friendship first, and from that, the positive power of 2, your money issues will be solved. But if the money issue is the first goal, then you will lose both. This story has a meaning. I wanted to write a couple of things and put in the Los Angeles bus stop system. Some of these little items, I don't know if you could read it. Well, I'll let it go a little bit closer and maybe you can see it. Let's see if this works. No, it doesn't work, of course. Because media, technology, they're not interested in trying to make their system user-friendly. It's no profit in it. Anyhow, part of it is the positive power 2. I don't know if you can read it. Maybe on your screen you can see it. And also, you are a miracle. And that's what I want to distribute all over the bus stops in Los Angeles. Maybe there's a mom who's struggling, has a teenager, because of the teen. And maybe if she or other people in Los Angeles would read that, I feel encouraged. And from that, maybe they'll help their teen, and their teen grows up. I get through that phase and become a researcher of whatever medicines or in society or whatever, great things. You listening, if you want to know the meaning of life, this entity which made this earth with the only planet of the world with life, is the miracle. It's the power, I don't know what it is, that causes earth to have life only. This miracle, this whatever you want to call it, someone would call it God or whatever, has been learning through all of us, our pains, our beauty, good times too, but especially the pains, and has figured out all of our lives together, has figured out that's the meaning of life. Separately, we will never figure it out. But the good news from all this, God, or this entity, has seen all the suffering going on, which includes all this stuff going on. It's amazing how the power outages, the Texas fluke happened. They had such power outage. So, I don't know, I might be onto something. And like I said, the 666 paper, kilobytes. Interesting, I might be onto something. Anyhow, as like I said, God has figured out all the pains, including all this. And here is where the interesting part is. As I go on, I will look at the long shot of what the top 10 God's new commandments are, is that at the end, God has started a miracle to give to all of us, has understand the suffering, and now is working through all of us to give us an answer to everything. And part of it is that of this quote here, "You are a miracle." And I will read it a little bit later. As I had randomly wrote this, love one another. The answers to your prayers may come from those who are outside of your group, your religion, political party. It may be from someone you do not like, is disabled, may dress poor, or is mostly wrong. God does not judge who is picked to say the right thing. It is us that we judge. So I started to think about this and why this power, whatever it might be, if I'm thinking it's true, why this power picked me to say this message. And I'll explain later. But as I mentioned before about the money rulers, do not be controlled by fear. This is God's commandment number 5. This is the tool the devil uses to destroy you and your loved ones, including your nation, if that, include that. God told Moses to pick up the snake by its tail. What? Moses said. And as is known, this is on my point, as is known, if you have a fear, you face it, and then the fear will go away, look at it, and study it, and whatever. But anyhow, this continues. But after Moses did it, that snake turned into a big harmless stick that he used to part the sea to freedom from slavery. It is your fear of poverty. And that's where the rich have to learn this lesson. Trauma, and this is for all of us. Disappointment, abandonment, phobia, distrust that keeps you from receiving God's true positive power of 2, which I explained in other places. The only way to part the sea away from slavery to that of the promised land of your mind. And that's the key to happiness, is not how much money you get, which you're driven by fear, but that of love one another. That's it. And that will get you to the promised land of peace in your mind. That's it. Simple. God understands this. And now the power. First of all, I want to mention this art. This was driven by Michelangelo when the Renaissance was started. A money person had decided to not be, again, back then in late 1400s, to invest in art, to invest in beauty like this, in philosophy. Now, in this country, I've tried to get my art and these sayings going, and there has been no effect. And I think great countries who get the balance of power in this world will put investment in the arts, like my stuff I'm trying to put together. But nobody cares to listen. But I think the country or nations who will, and you could get, PayPal on my website, Vision 2020 Light, LIGHT.com, and you get the information. You can donate, and I will help develop the art and philosophies that you can have for your country to give you the winning edge in world peace. Me saying that is part of God is at work, so don't be hopeless. God has been learning from all of our experiences, good and bad. From this, God is now calling all great religious leaders and prophets of the past, Moses, Muhammad, and others, Jesus, of course, to come together spiritually to bring a new dawn of hope to the world. This continues. The Messiahs with an S, are here. They are us. The question is not, what if God is one of us? But instead, what if God is all of us? Our lives are like note to a song, letter to a book, color to a painting, piece to a puzzle. Together we can create a masterpiece for which God intended us to live. Or if you don't like the word God, you can call it the position of the earth to everything else, why there's life here. But anyhow, the answers to our prayers of the suffering. You are the miracle, the Messiah, for which you have been praying for. The answer is you, me, and everybody we walk by. It's all of us. And that's the philosophy for a country who invest in my art and sayings. That will be the nation to be the one to bring world peace and have the possibilities because they believe in what? The true power of this universe is supposed to make what's supposed to happen on earth. And that's why I'm here, to bring a new spring. Things are in a mess right now, and that's why I'm here for this message.